Hello. So just going to give you some quick and easy, kind of simple um, tips and tricks for meditation. Um, just make it a little easier to get into and maybe make it more of a regular thing you do every day. Um, Make it short and sweet here. So I would say the um, first and foremost is to set a time every day when you're going to meditate. Um, it doesn't have to be exact even, but a basic sort of, you don't have to do it exactly at 3:30 or exactly at noon, that kind of thing. But around that time, I would say, get your body in the habit of it. So you want to do it, if you're a person who goes in a little later for work, do it when you have time in the morning, and do it at a specific time. So around 8 o'clock, around 8:30, roughly, you're going to do it, or do it in the afternoon, like I do. I go to work extremely early in the morning, like I get up at 4, that kind of thing, and head in. So I need to do it when I get home in the afternoon, which is fine. You can do, either way, it doesn't matter. But I always do it around the same time in the afternoon when I'm home. So that's always good. Set a time, make a time. This is my time. This is when I'm going to do it. The other thing is to have a place. So you want to basically have the same area that you do it in daily, if you can. Obviously, that doesn't work for everyone, but if you can, try and set aside a certain chair, a certain area to put your seating, that kind of thing. So a certain room even is fine, but even if you can do it specifically in the same spot in that room would be better. So yeah, set aside a little corner somewhere that's going to be your space, and this is where you're going to do it. Your body knows, I'm going to this space at this time. This is what we're doing now. You have to train your body into doing that. So that's the second one. So have a space, specific space where you're going to do it. The third one I would say is have clothes that you want to wear. So don't just sit down in your work clothes or your jeans you've been wearing all day, that kind of thing. You can do that, obviously, and if that works for you, that's fine. But it helps, especially when you're just getting into it, to get your mind ready. You're training your brain and your body to do something daily, and you want to make it so that your body knows this is what we're doing now. So you're having a certain time, you're having a certain place, and this third one would be to have clothes that you wear. So you're donning the ceremonial robes, as it were. You're putting on your meditation outfit, and that tells your brain and your body, we're going to meditate now. It's like you put on your workout clothes. Some people that work out a lot, and it makes them feel like they're ready to work out now. And that's what they're going to do. You put on your cycling clothes. I'm going cycling. It gets you more excited. So do that. Even if you have something fancy you want to put on, put it on, as long as it's comfortable. And make it a ceremony, a ritual that you're doing. So yeah, get your head in that space. I like to make a cup of tea beforehand. Maybe light some incense. Get the room smelling a certain way that will trigger. Senses are very important. So you're triggering that sense, and that sense is now saying, "Oh, I know what this is. This is meditation time. I'm having my tea, and we're lighting incense." And then when you're all calm and ready, you can sit down. If you have a zafu and zabuton, like I have, like this, it's just a little pillow that raises your spine up. Makes it a little more comfortable to sit in this posture because it raises your spine up away and your legs don't get all the tension. These are great. You can get them at a lot of good places. If not, though, you can just take a blanket, fold it up, and then just put a pillow or 2 pillows, whatever you need, on that, and then that'll make this. So yeah, we're seated comfortably, and make sure your spine is straight, straight as you can get it. In Tai Chi, they say the head should be suspended like a stone chime from West Mountain. And I like to think of that when I meditate. Basically, imagine there's a thread, or they say a silk thread, anything like that, holding up your head. So you can just imagine you're lightly being pulled up, and it straightens out your spine if you can imagine that your head is being suspended slightly. And it does really help to imagine that something is sort of lightly pulling you upward, especially your head and neck are suspended in order to keep your body straight and make it more comfortable for longer periods of time and take some of the stress off your legs also if you have a good posture. I've also heard it said that you can imagine yourself sitting on a blue lotus and then floating on the lotus in space, or just sort of wherever you'd like. But imagine that you're sitting on that giant lotus flower in this position, and you and the flower are completely weightless and just moving. And that's certainly nice and works very well, I think. You can hold your hands like this in the center, which I like to do. You can hold them here. However you'd like to hold them really is fine. I like to go here mainly because I had saw a little trick that was said that you could take your thumbs when you're in that position and push them together. You don't have to push insanely hard, but just kind of push them together if you find your attention is wavering. And then it'll bring your mind and your spirit back and focus it on that point where you're pushing your thumbs together. And then when you stop doing it, you'll be centered again. It works, so I can vouch for it. So I like to hold my hands like this. And then just keep your spine straight. Just do not deep breathing, I would say. So not, anytime you can hear you're breathing very heavily, it's probably not good. Just sort of, they say, shallow, regular, smooth, slow breathing. Like you would normally breathe, and focus heavily on the breathing. So you're focusing on bringing the air in, air out, and actually visualize it in your body as you're doing it. So the next thing I guess would be timing. If you do it and you're not really worried about time, you have a large chunk of time that's on the weekend, or like I have after work, I don't really have to worry about time necessarily. So I don't time it, and I just kind of go for as long as I feel like and then end it. A lot of people say that you shouldn't use a timer and that you should just look at a watch and glance down at it. I don't really like the idea of that even. I don't want to have a watch on me, any kind of electronic device while I'm meditating. And I find that I would be peeking at the time more often if I was wearing something like that. And that's sort of one of the points I've heard made about an alarm clock, is that you'd be thinking about the alarm. But I find it sort of the opposite, where you would be thinking more about the watch on your hand and glancing at it more if it were on you. All that being said, do whatever works. So if an alarm is good, a watch is good, then do it. If I'm short on time and I need to be somewhere and I know I only have a half hour, I would rather do the meditation and then just set an alarm and be ready to go. I find nothing wrong with that. So I've done it and I can recommend it. Just make sure you have it set low and kind of a nice tone if you can, so it's not too alarming, no pun intended, when you hear it. Another thing that can help, I find, is Tai Chi, Qigong breathing exercises, where you're not just breathing in air and out air and just focusing on breathing in and breathing out, but using your mind and your spirit to control the chi within your body, and combining that with your breathing techniques. It just gives you something to focus on, I think, where you're focusing on that, and then your thoughts are calming, because you have something that your brain is now focused on. We can focus on one thing at a time. That's what I'm focused on, and then it shuts down the other thoughts. So moving chi, basically when you're bringing it in and then storing it in your dantian, and then moving it around your body. So whether you're creating guardian chi, sending it through your arms or legs, sending it out your spine, out the top of your head, maybe just look up a few of those and see which one works for you and do that. I know in the Tai Chi classics they mention you can hold your hands up like this in order to feel the chi coming down and up your arms, and that actually works very well. You don't want to hold them up too long, get tired, but if you're sort of losing focus or you're just sitting down and you're trying to get the feeling for the chi moving around, then that one works very well. And so basically you would want to sit in the meditation pose, extend your arms, and then imagine that chi is coming down and in and then out and back up. And you can really feel it that way. I also find that if I hold my hands straight forward like this, then I can really feel it if I bring chi in and down and then up and out through my arms and out of the center of my palms. And I imagine that it's coming out that way, and I just hold my hands like this for just a few repetitions. Those both work really well. You don't necessarily need to do any kind of crazy exercises, but just focus on where the chi is going. It's coming in, it's being stored, it's being sent out to an extremity or wherever you like. The next one would be to have a phrase or a word to focus on in your brain that you just repeat in order to shut down all the other internal monologue and thoughts. The Pure Land Buddhists do it with the Amitabha Buddha. So you basically just would repeat the name Amitabha Buddha, Amitabha Buddha, over and over and over again, and then that would basically keep your mind focused on those words instead of wandering around. It's a big Zen thing too, where the sound of one hand clapping and a tree falls in the forest. You basically would pick a small Zen fable, as it were, story, and then take that and ponder it, think on it. That, for me, doesn't work as well, I would say, as the Pure Land idea of just repeating a single word. They use the name of Amitabha Buddha when they do it, but you can really use almost anything. I've heard Alan Watts mention the idea of, when you say certain words, the words end up losing meaning when you're repeating them over and over again. So if you say, that, 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 and you keep repeating it, the word itself loses its meaning and becomes just this sound you're making over and over again. So really that's the idea, is that you can take really anything and just that you'd like to say, or any word, and just keep rolling it around, and then the word will lose meaning and you're just making the sound, and you're not actually making the sound, but using that sound in your head to focus on and repeat, and you're shutting down all other thought. So yeah, just basically find a phrase, or if you want, you can look up some of the more religious or Zen or Taoist influenced phrases if you'd like to go that route, or just pick something that's special for you. I'd also say if you have dogs or cats or any kind of animals in the house, then it also helps to have a very a good set time, place that you're doing your meditation. It helps for them, because then they're going to know what's going on as well. And especially dogs, I know I have dogs, are creatures of habit. So, and cats are as well. So basically, if you make it a habit for them as well as yourself, it's going to help you out, because they'll be comfortable and they'll leave you alone while you're doing it. So that's about it. Keeping it short and sweet. Just a few tips and tricks to get into meditation a little easier. I would also say that if something feels like it's not going to work for you, then don't do it. And if someone tells you specifically this is the way you have to meditate, and you have to sit like this, and you have to hold your hands like this, and you have to say these words and think about this, and or not think about this or that, maybe don't listen to that person anymore. I'd say you do you. So the idea is really just to calm the mind and focus the mind and the spirit together, and that's really all it is. So any way that you need to do anything that you need to do in order to make it happen, do it and make it happen, and don't let anyone tell you it's wrong. There really is no right or wrong here. So just take the little bits and pieces from this person and this person that work for you, and put them all together and make your own routine. I would say that's the important part, though, is to make it a routine. So you're doing it, again, at a certain time of the day, in a certain place, in a certain outfit, with certain smells and textures and any kind of sensory input that can trigger as well. So I could have a cup of tea, light some incense. Maybe if you have a certain blanket or floor texture that you like, use that. That can all trigger the basically the senses and the brain and make you say, okay, we're going to meditate now. This is my ritual. This is my ceremony. And that will help you in order to make it a part of your daily routine and your life. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed the video, and peace.